What's up, guys? This is your boy Eagles Galaxy back with another video on YouTube after a year of absence. And today I'm talking about the Rams and Eagles game coming up on Sunday. First off, I'd like to apologize for this microphone quality. I know it's not great. If this video does well and I enjoy doing this, I'll try to get a USB adapter for my actual good microphone for the next video. So I'll be talking about info on the game, just some like general stuff, what I kind of think about the matchups. Then I'll be going over my offensive game plan, my defensive game plan, an X factor, and key matchups. And I'll be finishing off the video with saying what I think will be the actual score of the game. So with no further ado, let's get right into it with the info I have for this game written down. So the Eagles injury report for Thursday is looking good. Lane Johnson has already confirmed he will be playing. The injury report is showing that Miles Sanders was full today. He was a full participant and ready to go. All reports are saying that he should be going, barring a setback. Um, there was some concern with Brandon Graham not being ready with his concussion, but he was limited today, and all sources are also saying that he's going to be good to go. Derek Barnett was also a full participant, along with Djax and Fletcher Cox after their rest days, so it's looking pretty good. Nothing too major here. Of course, Elshon was out again. I don't expect him to be ready for another week or two at least. I almost forgot Javon Hargrave. He was limited today. I'm really not sure if he'll actually be ready for game day, but it's looking better for him. Last week he was completely out all week, so we will see where that goes for him. And now for my overview of the game, just some like more general info. I think the Eagles are well equipped to counter the Rams because the Rams rely heavily on their run game, and the Eagles are great against the run. Um, Eagles also have a talented DB room to cover the Rams receivers, and with the speed the Eagles have on offense, they should be able to do a lot against the Rams defense. But it ultimately comes down to the game plan, which I'll get into more in a second here. But in essence, get rid of the ball quick and run away from the offensive line. Before we get into my game plan, I just want to go over like what it is. So I have 5 bullet points for each side of the ball. It's not in a particular order, so just because I say one thing first doesn't mean it's necessarily more important than the next thing. But I will be explaining each thing and why I think it's important. So let's just get right into it with the offensive game plan. So number one is Eagles need to focus on running to the outside with Miles Sanders. While the O line is in its current state, I'm not that confident in running it up the middle, especially against Aaron Donald. I just don't think that'll work very well. I'm not saying that we can't run up the middle at all. I'm just saying I'd prefer to see it go to the outside. I think Sanders is fast and elusive enough to really get going on the outside, and especially having to work on those DBs that he'll go up against, that'll really help out. So number two is throwing more quick passes. I think last week they called way too many long developing plays that just weren't working because Washington was getting by the offensive line way too quickly. I'd say the best way to counter blitzes and just pressures in general is with quick passes. Um, I'd really like to see some slant routes to Rager because anytime he has the ball in his hands, that man is a threat to go to the house. And all throughout camp, we heard a lot of reports of how well Rager was taking these slant routes. So I think with him just getting the ball with a slant route, or really any short route, would be dangerous. He will definitely produce yards after the catch. I'd also like to see them bring back more of the classic screenplays they had last year, like the tight end screens to Goddard. The screenplays to Miles Sanders worked really well. It's really anything that can throw off the blitz and pressure and make them really second guess themselves on defense. And one last thing I wanted to add in on this one is just having quarterback rollouts by design. And by that, I mean having plays that are designed for the QB to roll out of the pocket with a player crossing the field with him for a quick completion. Usually that would be Ertz or Goddard, but it could really be anyone. Or Wentz could take off running. And I think that they should do this more because it helps when your offensive line isn't doing that great because the quarterback is deliberately escaping where all the pass rushers are. So yeah. So number three, we have no more mistakes. There were a lot of miscues on offense last Sunday against Washington. The offensive line missing blitzes, Wentz making bad throws and a few bad reads leading to picks. Receivers making critical drops. That was mainly Hightower and Zach Ertz. And Rager slowing down on top of his route. We really need to clean these up, and I think that with more communication and as time goes on, I think the offense will get much better at this, and I think we'll see some of that this week. So this next one I think we all saw coming, and that is protect Wentz. He was hit 15 times last Sunday. 8 of those were sacks, which I'm not going to blame all those on the offensive line. Wentz does need to do better at throwing the ball away when there's nothing there and he's going to take a hit. That said, he was still hit 15 times. There's room for improvement there, and I think the offensive line will improve, especially having Lane Johnson back. But until that actually happens, we need to worry about this. It's definitely a concern. We can't see Wentz getting hit 15 times and expect to win again. And finally, number 5 is no more turnovers. I'm going to be honest, I'm blaming this mostly on Carson Wentz. Of course, he was pressured a lot, but still, he made some really bad throws that could have led to even more turnovers. He really needs to work on that, and I think with getting pressured less, that'll really help out because I think he was, as Foles would say, he was seeing ghosts in the pocket and just struggling because of it. And as we've been saying since 2016 when he was a rookie, he really needs to work on his ball security. Um, just really needs to pull it down to his body when he's getting hit, and that would really help out. But it's his 5th year; he still hasn't really done much of an improvement. So I don't know. I'm not really holding my breath on that one, unfortunately. But if he gets hit less, he's less likely to fumble. Just saying. And now moving on to the defensive game plan with number 1 is to shut out their run. They absolutely dominated against the Cowboys with 40 rush attempts for 153 yards and both of their touchdowns coming from the ground. Malcolm Brown absolutely needs to be stopped early. This also helped them dominate the time of possession. They had 35 minutes and 38 minutes out of the 60 minutes of game time. And I think this is going to be something the Eagles can do. They did really well against Washington in this regard. They held Washington to 36 rushes for 80 yards for only 2.2 yards per carry. So I'm not really worried about this, honestly. I mean, it really comes down to how the Rams scheme things, but I don't know. I'm just not worried. So moving into number 2 is to pressure Goff. Goff really isn't that great against pressure, and I think the Eagles are also really well equipped to do this. They could be getting back Hargrave, which will really help, and especially when they're most likely getting Barnett back. But once Goff is rattled in the pocket, we should see the Rams have a hard time moving the ball. I don't think he becomes very accurate once he's been pressured enough, and this could actually lead to turnovers, which for number 3 is create turnovers. I'd say the biggest reason the Washington football team was successful against the Eagles last Sunday was because of the turnovers they were getting and getting great field position as a result and getting the momentum of the game. If the Eagles can get this on the Rams, like just getting turnovers and some good field position for the offense, I think the Rams will have a really hard time catching back up to that. And number 4 is no penalties. I'm really not concerned about this right now because the Eagles didn't commit any penalties on defense last Sunday, but it's still important to continue this regardless. You obviously can't win if you're constantly giving them free yards. And finally, number 5 is just the bottom line, which is to dominate. I'm really not that worried about the defense, as I've said numerous times now. They did their jobs to the best of their abilities last week and really only gave up points after the offense gave them bad field positioning and couldn't keep on the field. So then the defense was on the field most of the game, getting tired and worn out. So I'm really confident that this defense will do what they need to do to win. It's the offense that really concerns me. So finally, I have a few key matchups to watch out for. Starting off with probably the biggest one, which is going to be Jason Kelsey versus Aaron Donald. Then we have Darius Slay versus Robert Woods, Nickel Roby Coleman against Cooper Cup, and Deshaun Jackson versus Jalen Ramsey. Which that one, it's probably not going to happen that much. It seems like Jackson's on a snap count limit. But Jalen Ramsey is going to be absolutely crucial to beat out, and I think with speed, we really can destroy him. Last but not least in this video, I'm just going to talk about the final score. I think it'll be 27-14 Eagles. The Eagles win fairly convincingly here after a really bad week last week. I say those 3 touchdowns for the Eagles comes from 1, a Miles Sanders rushing touchdown, 2, a Dallas Goedert touchdown catch, and 3, a JJ Arcega-Whiteside catch, which is a little bold. And on top of that, the Eagles get 2 field goals with Jake Elliott. And the 2 touchdowns I see the Rams getting, number 1 comes from a Cooper Kupp touchdown against Roby Coleman, and I think the other one comes from a receiving touchdown that Malcolm Brown comes down with. Now, with all that, I think I'm ready to end this video, but I'd just like to say thank you if you've made it this far in this video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please smash that like button and comment what you think about the game, what your final score will be, if you disagree with me or agree with me on anything, and whether you'd like to see me make more of these videos in the future.